I'm sorry, but I don't want to be around white people. I'm tired of looking at them. A lot of these, I think, like, could you imagine if I wrote that about black people on my Twitter account? I'm pretty sure I would get banned from Twitter. I'm pretty sure I would lose all my friends. I would never be able to get a job. I mean, I'd probably lose all my fans. I mean, what a crazy thing to say. I'm sorry, but I don't want to be around white people. I'm tired of looking at them. Just imagine a white person saying that about black people. I'm actually against censorship. I think these people should all be able to say all this kind of stuff. But I just want to point out the vicious hatred that people have for white people on Twitter, and totally unjustified, by the way. I mean, there's no reason for this. I mean, these people are just hateful racists, really. Black hatred of white people on Twitter.
Mr. Reagan.
In America, we are hyper-focused on the problem of white racism against black people, when really, it's not a big problem at all. However, there is an enormous racism problem in America, and it's racism against white people. A lot of people seem not to be aware of this, or they just don't believe that it exists. So I thought I would expose it by reading a list of tweets that I found on Twitter just by typing white people. These tweets are rather disturbing and very revealing. I shall read them in one moment. First, I have to sell you something. It's tax season, and I just paid tens of thousands of dollars for my crypto investment gains. Never again. I just learned that there is a way that my capital gains could go tax-free legally, and I can do it through My Digital Money. With My Digital Money, you can buy and sell cryptocurrencies through a crypto IRA. Yes, you can buy and sell cryptos as much as you want and not pay taxes. And we all know just how big those gains can be. Last year, Ethereum gained 450%, and with a My Digital Money crypto IRA account, you don't have to pay taxes on that. And here is the best part. My Digital Money is giving away $50 to new cash accounts, no questions asked. Just use the account MDM50. Go to mydigitalmoney.com and open a cash account now to get your free $50. That's mydigitalmoney.com. For the record, these tweets are being read in order to create awareness about the vicious hate that has infected many Americans against white people. I do not agree with these statements. I condemn them, and I condemn all forms of racism. I have to say that, otherwise YouTube will say that I'm promoting hate or something like that, and they'll delete the video. All right, let's go ahead and read these tweets. White people are so effing crazy. Rule 1, never take cooking advice from white people. White people should not be able to cook. It's crazy how often white people get away with being mediocre at best. Dear white people, ratchet is not your word. Please stick to tacky. Sincerely, management. Dear Princess E. Money, English is not your language. Please stick to African. It always cracks me up when black people say that white people aren't allowed to use certain words or express themselves in certain ways using the English language. It's English. It's a language developed by white people. They're appropriating a language and then telling us not to appropriate their appropriation of white language. I don't know. It's crazy. White people, don't trust them. Fear extremely liberal white people. They be hella overcompensating. That I agree with. Old white people really need to mind their business. OMFG. White people make my stomach turn, I swear. Gonna become a police officer so I can racially profile and target white people. Oh, isn't that sweet? Don't talk about self-respect if you're out here dating white people. All right, so I guess you're not allowed to date white people anymore if you want to have self-respect as a black person. White people are so cringe, LMAO. The only white people I F with also hate white people. Oh, isn't that lovely? I went from working with old white people to young white people, and honestly, they're just as strange. White people so rude, bruh. Like mad ain't got no flavor, honey. I'll be perfectly honest, I don't completely understand that sentence. White people, the laziest MFs I ever met. Is it just me, or do white people feet be looking dirty as? Well, maybe it's just because they're white, so you can see the dirt easier. White people are the devil reincarnated. Even when it's black people's fault, it's white people's fault. I hate that white people also have access to the internet. The only thing I got from this thread is that white people are weird as F. Sorry, but white people who hate on Taylor just give me pick-me energy. Like, she's literally the only good thing about y'all. Apparently, she's referring to Taylor Swift. Apparently, Taylor Swift is the only good thing about white people. White people shouldn't be allowed to tweet this month. There were a few of these tweets posted on February 1st because apparently it's Black History Month, and so we're not allowed to tweet now. White people shouldn't speak this month. I don't know, they wrote. IDK, I think, means I don't know. So we're not allowed to speak during Black History Month now. White people so upset they don't get to have a wackaroo on our culture. Okay, I don't actually understand this. I'm upset that I don't have a wackaroo on your culture? I'm going to tell you right now, lady, I'm okay not having a wackaroo on your culture. Whatever that means. You can keep all your wackaroos. They said, we know white people dirty. I'm sorry, but I don't want to be around white people. I'm tired of looking at them. A lot of these, I think, like, could you imagine if I wrote that about black people on my Twitter account? I'm pretty sure I would get banned from Twitter. I'm pretty sure I would lose all my friends. I would never be able to get a job. I mean, I'd probably lose all my fans. I mean, what a crazy thing to say. I'm sorry, but I don't want to be around white people. I'm tired of looking at them. Just imagine a white person saying that about black people. Somebody saying that they don't want to be around black people because they're tired of looking at them. A lot of these are like that. This guy writes, watching white people succeed makes me sick to my stomach. Again, imagine a white person saying that about a black person. Imagine a white person was driving around, looked out the window, and just said that looking at black people succeed makes them sick to their stomach. Imagine somebody saying that. You would just look at them with horror, like you are the most racist person I've ever met in my life. This guy, no problem saying it, no problem tweeting it out. I mean, these people aren't being forced to tweet these things. They're choosing to do so. They're getting the impulse, they're having the thought, they're consciously processing it, and then they're thinking, you know what I should do? I should post this on Twitter for the public to see what I believe here. This is how crazy our culture has become. This person's written, let's be honest, white people are a problem, bruh. Are we? Okay. This person is really crazy. This person wrote, I don't want to see no white people disrespect any black people on the TL all month. I don't know what the TL is. You MFs better fall in line. Again, could you imagine a white person saying, you MFs better fall in line, talking about black people on Twitter? I mean, honestly, I think it would be on the national news. It would be on like CNN if somebody wrote that on Twitter, a white person. But the really weird thing is they then have a photo, like a screenshot of Charlie Brown in blackface with like an African hat photoshopped on. I don't really understand that at all, but all right. This person writes, white people humor stinks, for real. This lady's written, they need to stop making cartoons with white people and the same storyline. I'm sorry, but I need more stories with a diverse cast. Literally, I was just watching Kippo, and that stuff rocks, so we need more stuff like that. And like Craig of the Creek 2, I'm tired of seeing white people. I hate to tell you this, anti-Prince, but just about everything has a diverse cast these days. I don't know what you're watching, but everything has. There's very few white people in any kind of movies or TV shows anymore. Anyway, let's check the next one. This lady writes, but I'm not supposed to hate this country or the infestation that is white people, ? Even when white people have seasonings, they don't know how to use them. And they've got a little clown emoji. This is a common theme with a lot of these tweets. There is some kind of stereotype among black people that white people don't know how to cook, that we don't know how to use spices. It's like the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Like, some of my favorite food is Indian food. And I think that Indian is one of the types of cuisines that has, I would say, probably the broadest mix of spices. I mean, they really throw in a ton of spices into that kind of food. I know French cuisine has a lot of different kind of spices. I will say that when I cook for myself, because I do a lot of keto and borderline carnivore, I do basically spice most of my food just with salt and pepper, but that's just because I'm eating nice cuts of steak. The way I see it is if you have really nice cuts of steak, if you have really clean, beautiful, whole foods, you really shouldn't be seasoning them with all kinds of spices and stuff like that. Seasoning things with spices is more for like mixed food, especially when you're using poorer cuts of meat. And so I think that typically cultures like the poor of any given culture were more likely to use more spices and herbs and stuff like that. Now, if you know anything about medieval history, you will know that medieval Europeans used spices like crazy. And in fact, a lot of the spices that they used were very, very expensive. So it was kind of ostentatious show of wealth to use an absurd amount of spices in medieval cuisine.
We have in here some of the most precious commodities in medieval times, particularly in medieval England. This is a spice chest.
Nutmegs, cardamom pods, cloves,
Cassia, ordinary peppercorns,
long pepper,
grains of paradise, mace, raw sugarcane, galangal or ganlingale.
And then, of course, depending on where you grow up, what your mom was cooking, you'll know what kind of spices your mom used to use, how spicy it was, how many seasonings and that sort of thing. And I would say that this is just a very ignorant stereotype that these people just don't know what they're talking about. They're just not educated. White people will forever be the problem. Should snuff them all for participating in this. And he's got some kind of like artistic presentation of like white police officers attacking a black African or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, this person is calling for the genocide of white people on Twitter. That's charming. It would be truly amazing to see white people writing that black people should all be snuffed out or something like that because of some kind of artistic imagery that somebody created. The stuff that they put on here is bizarre. And look, I'm actually against censorship. I think these people should all be able to say all this kind of stuff, but I just want to point out the vicious hatred that people have for white people on Twitter, and totally unjustified, by the way. I mean, there's no reason for this. I mean, these people are just hateful racists, really. All right, this woman writes, "It's literally in white people blood to gaslight and play victim. Cry, cry, not fun." Okay, sure. White people just love to complain about air pollution in major cities in the global south, as if air pollution and major cities wasn't their idea. LMAO. Yes, we white people got together once, a long time ago. This is hundreds of years ago. And we're like, what would be awesome? Guys, air pollution. I know you guys don't know what it is, but it's going to be a thing. It's going to be great. Just trust me. People are not going to be able to breathe very well. It'll be fantastic. It's amazing to me what kind of bizarre conspiracy theories people will dream up about white people just to hate us because, I don't know. Racism. I need a gun already. Tired of white people walking near my car, making me nervous. That one just makes me laugh. White people are so, and then there's a kind of cringe emoji or something like that. OMG, this is what they don't want taught in schools. The real savages and monsters were the white people who did this stuff. You can't pretend slavery was a blip when you know this. And then there's some kind of like fake history underneath. What the F is wrong with white people? I like how simple and straightforward that one is. White people will abuse and gaslight people of color and black people about everything from our history to our culture to our trends, then somehow can't understand why we want to live in a place with as few of them as possible. Well, you know what? All right. I think that this idea that if you want to get away from white people, that you should feel free to move back to Africa, I think that concept gets a bad rap because it's something that's said by a lot of like white supremacists and stuff like that. But I don't think it's a terrible idea. If you really hate white people and you're totally racist against white people, feel free to move out of America. There is a huge continent called the continent of Africa, and you can move back, where your ancestors are from. You can feel free to move back there if you hate white people so much. But, white people created this country, the United States of America. And if you want to live here, you're going to have to put up with us. Sorry. White people can be very annoying. Some can, that's true. White people joking about this and the replies, "You're not funny. In fact, I hope you die." A little bit of an overreaction, I think. "You're not funny, so I want you to die." Let's see here. "Girl, I want to scam the white people for money this month." And this is February 2nd, so obviously this is for Black History Month. This woman or guy, or I don't know what this person is, but they believe that it's totally legitimate to scam white people for Black History Month. That's lovely. In honor of Black History Month, and to start some stuff with any racist that may be on my timeline here, here's a nice list of names to call white people. If you get mad, you're anti-black. Yes, I'm gaslighting the out of you. Y'all for a month. LMAO. And then they've got a bunch of, I guess, slurs for white people. 50 of them or something like that. There's a lot. Oh, one of them is demons. Oh, they got a lot of here. Feta cheese, folks. That one's kind of funny. Vanilla gorilla. I like that. That one's funny. Vanilla villains. Mayo monkey. That's pretty funny. These are pretty good, actually. Colonizer. It's a little too common for my taste. Cotton swabs. That's funny. These are pretty good, actually. I like that. Why doesn't anybody send me that? I love that. That's funny. This chick writes, don't ask me to retweet your services this month if you aren't black. Come on now. Nothing racist about that. White people are not okay, aren't we? That's a shame. This woman just writes, God, I hate white people. This chick writes, white people are barbaric. Mavis was right. White people are nasty. Don't follow their advice on hygiene, please. Yeah, I don't know what that stereotype is, that white people are all dirty. It's a bizarre stereotype. I actually had a discussion with this with some of my black friends once, and they were obsessed with this idea that white people didn't use washcloths. They were going on and on and on about it, and finally I was like, so wait, you just have like one washcloth and everybody in the family uses it? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, isn't that dirtier than just using your hands? They all got really quiet. But yeah, I don't know. There's this bizarre stereotype that white people are dirty. Within black culture, there's a stereotype that white people are dirty. I don't know what that's all about. This guy writes, white people will never be invited to any cookout of mine. I don't give an F how many performative good deeds they do. This person writes, I already don't F with white people, but the way y'all act up at concerts, that's beyond me. Y'all was musty as hell too. Okay, white people are musty, apparently. Dog, white people make me want to scratch, gouge, rip, tear, snatch, and choke. ISTG. I guess, I don't remember what that is. I looked it up. It's like, I swear to God. I swear to God, that's what that means. White people are a disease for real. I think the white people in my English class are out to get me because we had to say what we were going to write about an essay, and I said, white people are a genetic mutation. The class was silent. Yeah, normally when you shout racist things in a classroom, everybody kind of gets awkward and quiet. Yeah. This chick writes, I just know it's all entitled white people camping out right now, and you guys deserve nothing good. So, yeah, white people deserve nothing good, apparently. This guy just writes, I don't like white people, man. Okay. So this is a white person, actually. This is not a black person. This is a white person that hates white people. And this guy's written, this is your monthly reminder that us white people should stop using AAVE. AAVE, I looked up, it's African American Vernacular English. And again, it's English. English is a white European language. If you're going to create a derivation of English, I'm sorry, you cannot stop white people from using it. White people invented that language. You just created a variation of it. If you want a language that very few white people speak, find an African language, learn to speak that, and then exclusively speak that language. You cannot restrict white people from speaking any kind of derivation of English. This guy wrote, I'm not going to read this one, I'm just going to show it on the screen. This guy has written an extremely racist tweet against another black guy because he thinks this black guy has too many white friends. When we go out, I bully white people. Well, aren't you just lovely? This guy writes, can't believe white people literally evolved themselves just to drink white milk. I knew that's how they refueled their whiteness. I like him. I might actually follow that guy. That's amazing. He calls himself Ghetto Gorilla. You know what? In another lifetime, if things were different, I think I would be friends with that guy. That is funny. That is how we refuel our whiteness. I love that so much. This lady writes, white people make my skin crawl, literally. All right. Spelling is like dancing. White people are clueless at both. Honestly, the dancing thing, it's so stupid. Lots of white people can dance. Lots of black people can't dance. It's an individual by individual thing, all right? And spelling? Really? You think white people can't spell? You literally just spelled white, Y-T. I don't know what you're talking about. And there's no punctuation here. Come on. White people are inherently evil. White people are so weird. That's how you know white people some demonic reptiles. Just stop effing with white people. They are a treacherous bunch. I refuse to acknowledge white people humor. And I don't believe this is a black guy because his name is Dinesh Gopal, so I assume he must be Indian. Does not acknowledge white people humor. All right, you're missing out on a lot of funny stuff, sir. Dirty stuff from a dirty bee. What y'all be expecting with these white people? Again, with the dirtiness. I don't understand that. Why is that a stereotype? White people are not dirty. That's like a weird, that's such a weird thing. This is a woman named Vixen Hendricks, she calls herself. And she writes here, I'm lying. This is just a way to make white people shut up. Now, she's specifically referring to a claim she made that somebody had called her the N-word on Twitter and in a particular thread after a tweet she'd made. And so somebody else had asked her, where is this? Because that's a very serious thing, and I want to see the tweet. And she responds, I'm lying. It's just a way to make white people shut up. And I actually think this is kind of a great example of how sometimes when people say, oh, white people just need to be quiet and listen to black people talk because black people can tell you their experience. Because we white people, we don't always know when a black person has experienced racism, but they can tell us. Well, no, because sometimes a black person is just experiencing normal life and interprets it incorrectly as racism. And then sometimes, like with Vixen Hendricks here, they're just lying. They know nobody was racist, and they claim that somebody was racist because they know that they can get sympathy for it, and it gives them some kind of advantage. I'm not going to say this is always true. I'm not going to say this is often true. I don't know what percentage of claims of racism are lies, but I assume it's quite frequent because it's a very powerful thing to say. Anyway, let's move on. White people have no shame in nothing. That incest stuff, heavy with their kind. Yes, I'm sure that there were no small African hunter-gatherer tribes that ever engaged in any incest. I'm sure that never happened with Africans ever. Why do you put ugly white people on my timeline? Get the effing white people out of Ottawa. That would be something to celebration. I just love that she said celebration instead of celebrate. That's funny to me. White people are so effing rude. You hate white people as much as I do. OMG, you are so real. And this is by the same woman that pretended that somebody called her the N-word so that they could get that white person to shut up. And finally, simply, I hate white people. Well, that's it for me. And remember, it's not that our liberal friends are ignorant. It's just they know so much. That is not so. Good night.
I am eternally optimistic, and I happen to believe that we've made great progress from the days when I was young and when this country didn't even know it had a racial problem. I know those things can grow out of despair in an inner city, when there's hopelessness at home, lack of work and so forth.